I would like to call the Assembly Appropriations Committee hearing on May 13th, 2015 to order. We're going to start off as a subcommittee since we do not have a quorum present. And then we'll, once a quorum is present, we'll call roll. Mr. Alejo, you're up. Oh. Mr. Alejo, you have 2 suspense bills, 1 consent, and 1 due pass. What's your pleasure?
Right, I'm waiving presentation on AB 20 and AB 490 and foregoing presentation on AB 1435 since it's on consent, only presenting on AB 1390, which is streamline adjudication for water rights, groundwater rights.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. Today I'm here to present on AB 1390, a bipartisan bill that will bring new efficiency to the process of adjudicating water rights in groundwater basins. When the governor signed the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act, or SGMA, last year, there was an interest in streamlining the adjudication process. AB 1390 will work in conjunction with SGMA to do just that. For this reason, this bill has attracted 16 co-authors from both parties and both houses of the legislature, including several members of this committee. The goal of AB 1390 is to clarify court procedures that apply to comprehensive groundwater adjudications to reduce the time and improve the efficiency of the process, thus reducing costs. Specific provisions of the bill will encourage early settlement and avoid undue disruption of local groundwater planning. This bill received unanimous bipartisan support in the Assembly Natural Resources Committee and the Assembly Judiciary Committee. I respectfully ask for an aye vote and have some witnesses to speak in support.
Thank you. Witnesses in support?
Jack Rice with the California Farm Bureau. Here to answer any questions. We've worked hard on working with all the stakeholders to find something that will reduce the costs for courts, for the parties, and for the state. So I'll answer any questions if there are any.
Lauren Hajic on behalf of California Citrus Mutual, California Fresh Fruit Association, California Cotton Growers Association, Western Agricultural Processors Association, as well as other agricultural entities. We support the bill for policy reasons, so I'm also here to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. Any individuals from the public in support?
Gail Delahant, Western Growers Association, in strong support.
Valerie Nera for the California Chamber of Commerce in support.
Witnesses in opposition? Individuals from the public in opposition? Department of Finance?
Brennan Murphy, Department of Finance, Mr. Chair. No file.
No file. Question or comments from the committee members?
Question.
Mr. Bigelow?
Mr. Leo, I just would like to thank you for bringing this bill forward and having worked with my office and actually giving me an opportunity to read through this. And when we get a chance and get a quorum, I'd be happy to make a motion to move this bill forward.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bigelow.
Mr. Alejo, thank you so much for working on this issue. Okay. Thank you so much for working on this issue. This was last year we had the groundwater legislation. It was somewhat contentious, but it got passed. And one of the commitments I made was to help on the process of taking care of any of the concerns that the opposition had. You're the lead. We respect all the work that you've done because this was not an easy bill. It was comprehensive. It went through several committees, and I think is a good piece of legislation moving forward. Also, I have no doubt that I want to add my support and my the weight of this committee behind this bill to make sure that it gets a fair chance in the Senate. So I would like to be added on as a joint author when you get a chance.
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank you and your staff for really helping us with this bill and helping it keep moving forward.
Thank you so much. So this bill is going to go on a roll call when we have a quorum. Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you very
Alejo.
much. Thank you.
Mr. Blair. So as a courtesy to one of the committee members, Mr. Bloom asked for Mr. Frazier to be bumped, so I said okay. No, he's in the time crunch. Mr. Bloom?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You have one bill on suspense, one consent, and one due pass.
Thank you, and I'll present on AB 888, and I appreciate the consideration. I have a budget subcommittee that will be meeting in a couple of minutes that I chair, and so I thank you, Chair and members. AB 888 would prohibit the sale of personal care products containing microplastic beads by January 1, 2020. Over the last decade, the personal care product industry developed products incorporating microplastic beads that act as exfoliants and abrasives in beauty and hygiene products such as soaps, shampoos, and toothpaste. Given what we know about plastic pollution today, this turned out to not be a wise decision because these beads have been escaping because of their size through our water treatment systems and accumulating in our waterways. And recent research has shown that they're present in alarmingly high volumes in those waterways. Microplastic beads from these products present a significant danger for our valuable freshwater and marine ecosystems as they attract and accumulate toxic chemicals and are mistaken for food by wildlife, working those toxins up the food chain. We project minimal enforcement costs from this bill, as there are already companies reformulating products without microbeads today. California needs the important protections that this bill provides. This is an important issue that California should be on the forefront of, and therefore I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Bloom. Witnesses in support? Individuals from the public in support?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Matt Robinson on behalf of the City and County of San Francisco, the Office of Mayor Ed Lee. We are in support of this bill for the environmental benefits that the author stated.
Thank you.
Sylvia Solis Shaw on behalf of City of Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti, also in strong support. Thank you.
Great. Witnesses in opposition? Individuals from the public in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file, Mr. Chair.
No file. Questions or comments from the committee members? Mr. Bloom, I remember this bill from last year. You did a great job working with the opposition. As they say, bills are never dead. They just come back in a different form. But I think it's definitely in a better form. This bill enjoys a due pass recommendation, and when we have a quorum, we'll move it out on a B roll call. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Mr. Frazier.
Mr. Frazier. No worries, we just bumped Medina for you, so it's okay. Mr. Frazier, you have one bill on consent and one on suspense. How would you like to proceed?
We'll proceed on 1369, and thank you for the consideration on consent on the other bill.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. AB 1369 seeks to ensure that our schools offer students with dyslexia the appropriate remediation before they fall behind in their academic achievement. The International Dyslexia Association estimates that as many as 15 to 20% of the population has some of the symptoms of dyslexia, including slow or inaccurate reading, poor spelling, poor writing, or mixing up similar words. Although dyslexia is one condition listed in the federal and state definition of a specific learning disability, and federal law states that a specific learning disability is a disorder in a psychological process, it does not include a phonological processing deficit, which is a hallmark for dyslexia. When school districts review assessment data for a given student, school personnel look for visual and auditory processing deficits, but often ignore evidence of phonological deficits. Because visual and auditory deficits are specified in the above definition, this bill further addresses the need for an evidence-based, multisensory, direct, explicit, structured, and sequential approach to remediating students with dyslexia. Testifying in support is Toby Meyer on behalf of Decoding Dyslexia, and I respectfully ask your aye vote.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fraser. Just a second. Let's call the roll while we have members here.
Gomez.
Here.
Bigelow.
Present.
Bloom.
Here.
Bonta.
Here.
Calderon, Chang, Daly, Eggman, Gallagher, Garcia, Holden, Jones, Quirk,
Here.
Rendon, Wagner, Weber, Wood.
Thank you so much. This bill is on suspense, but we will like for your witness to proceed.
Good morning. Toby Meyer with Decoding Dyslexia, sponsor of AB 1369, reading the testimony of Dr. Hurley from Dyslexia Training Institute. The addition of phonological processing to the education code would make it possible for students with dyslexia who are struggling academically to receive the services that they are entitled to under IDEA. These services give them the opportunity to learn to read, write, and be successful, contributing members of society. It will decrease the likelihood that they will drop out, commit crimes, and end up either in prison, poverty, or both. Adding phonological processing is not expanding the definition of SLD. It is merely adequately describing it to prevent schools from continuing the practice of denying students with dyslexia the right to learn to read and write because they are unaware of the symptoms of dyslexia. In fact, autism, which affects far fewer students with dyslexia, has a full description in IDEA. Additionally, Tennessee, New Jersey, Texas, Iowa, and Mississippi, among others, have added the definition of dyslexia in full into their education code. It is important for the California Teachers Association and other opponents to understand that students with dyslexia should not be spending their entire educational careers in special education. With the appropriate intervention, students with dyslexia should spend no more than 3 to 4 years receiving this research-based intervention. Appropriate intervention would dramatically decrease the number of students receiving special education services, thereby dramatically decreasing the amount of money and human resources needed to sustain special education. It takes approximately $2,500 to properly train one teacher in a multisensory structured explicit language-based program who can then use that training to teach a child with dyslexia to be successful enough to exit special education. The cost savings in serving less special education students, less crime, and a lower dropout rate far outweighs the initial cost to train teachers. We respectfully ask the Appropriations Committee to support AB 1369 and help us improve not only the lives of children with dyslexia, but the financial health of the public schools. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Individuals from the public in support, just your name, organization, and your position.
Mindy Luby on behalf of Decoding Dyslexia California, representing the 1.2 million dyslexic students in California, in support.
Thank you.
Tina Sidlow from San Jose, my son Tyler, my daughter Alicia, and we are all dyslexic, and we support AB 1369.
Thank you.
Suzanne Giller from San Ramon in support of AB 1369 for me and my son, Kyan.
Thank you.
Kate Halfon from Martinez, California. My son is dyslexic. I'm in support of this bill.
Martha Bruder from San Francisco. I have 2 kids in public school, and I support this bill.
Jeff Tackett from Upland. Myself and my daughter both have dyslexia, and we support this bill.
Heather Helfer. I'm from Alamo, California, with Decoding Dyslexia, and my daughter has dyslexia, and I am in support of AB 1369.
Julie Mills from Oakland, California, on behalf of my son, Alex McSpadden, who was misdiagnosed and is now struggling to catch up at the age of 17. I support AB 1369.
John Lovell, California College and University Police Chiefs Association, California Narcotic Officers Association. Well-established link between academic achievement and public safety. This is a smart bill. We strongly support it.
Hi, my name is Christine Matheny. I'm from Aptos, California. I'm dyslexic. I have a severely dyslexic son, and I'm in support of AB 1369 and ask for you to vote yes on it.
Hi, my name is Max Matheny, and I am severely dyslexic. I was misplaced in special day class 4 years ago, and I still read and write at second grade level, but I'm really smart with a high IQ higher than average. I support AB 1369 and ask you to vote yes.
Thank you so much. Mr. Frazier, would you like to... Wait a second. Opposition, please.
Erica Hoffman on behalf of the California School Boards Association. I do want to thank the author and his staff, committee staff, for the work that has been done on this bill. We are slowly moving our position, hopefully often oppose. But as of right now, I do have to maintain an opposed position because of the cost potentially for this bill in including phonological in the definition. It is above the definition of IDEA at this point in time, which is basically what dictates costs for a lot of schools is the federal law. But we are working closely to hopefully be able to resolve this issue and appreciate the author's work. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members. Alice Kessler. I'm here representing the SELP administrators of California, and we also appreciate the movement that's been made on this bill. Unfortunately, we do continue to oppose it. Just putting the policy aside for a moment and focusing on the costs, as Ms. Hoffman mentioned, this would create a change in regulation that would be out of conformity with what's required under federal law, which could trigger unique new kinds of special education assessments, and that's where our concern lies. We'll continue to work with the author's office on this bill. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other individuals from the public in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file, Mr. Chair.
Questions or comments from the committee members? Mr. Quirk?
First of all, I don't understand why adding the term, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. Yes. Why does that trigger new costs? Perhaps I could ask the opposition why that would trigger costs. I don't really, if you're treating dyslexia, and I guess for the supporters, why is it important to add that? And then for the
you want to go ahead and support?
The opposition, why does it add the cost? So why is it important to include it again, briefly?
Well, just speaking from a parent's point of view, and I'm not an expert, I read an expert's testimony, but speaking from the parent's point of view, typically a child will have a deficit in phonological processing, which is one of the main hallmarks of dyslexia. However, that does not qualify them for services.
But do they have the usual symptoms of reversing letters and having a difficulty with spelling, etc.?
So, yes, the reversal of letters is typically common for all children up to the second grade. However, any time after the second grade and they're still reversing the letters, that is another indicator of dyslexia. And spelling, of course, which is called encoding, is very difficult for a dyslexic child. They will typically spell phonetically.
So I'm trying to understand why it's important to add that term. If they're going to have the same symptoms, why is it important to add that term?
Because for the way that I understand it, if a child is given an assessment for special education and there is a deficit in the phonological processing on one of the tests that are given to the student, and the school sees that there's a deficit, they are not qualifying for services based on that deficit. So the child continues to fall behind from their peers, and the parents need to seek services outside of the school for private tutoring to remediate.
I see. So they can have all the symptoms of dyslexia, but because they failed one test, they're not allowed to get services. This, perhaps, Mr.
Assemblymember
Frazier.
Quirk, what it does is it actually provides another item that specifies that they are dyslexic. It just formalizes and yes, you are. This is another indicator.
But if they have the other indicators, why is it necessary to add this one?
It hasn't been identified to this point as a need. Right now in the education system, you have to fail first. Okay.
Oh, I see. All right. I think I understand. Got it. All right. And then how do you see this as – so the analysis here, although it's on suspense, is for low state costs. What would this mean to the opposition for costs of the school districts as a whole?
Assemblymember Quirk, so essentially our read on this is that it could create a new basis for a parent to request an assessment, which would then start a process to have a new assessment plan created, a new IEP meeting, potentially due process hearings, and all of those things would bring costs, mandated costs.
Yeah, but it's state-mandated costs, so aren't there reimbursements for that?
Correct, which would then trigger costs to the state.
Yeah, but the estimates here are quite low, $110,000 a year ongoing.
I believe that's for the promulgation of the regulations, that costs in the analysis, and then the reimbursable costs would be for the new assessments that would be triggered under the bill.
Yeah, again, given that the teacher costs are reimbursable, I'm not quite sure why it's a large cost to the districts. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Quirk. Any other questions or comments from the committee members?
Just one quick question. I understand the cost factors and those kinds of things, and oftentimes cost factors are mitigated because of the savings that occur over time. I know we did that with the early edge in terms of if you get in early, there's a cost, but then you save money going forward because kids are no longer in need of intensive care. A question I ask is this for those in the system, is this a better method? I think that for me that's important because early intervention is always better than late intervention because of the academic as well as the emotional, psychological impact that has on children. So is this a better method? Is there any discussion about that in terms of this being better for kids, in terms of a better way of identifying and capturing a larger number of students than we have been capturing?
I'll let Toby identify that, and I'll close with that.
I'm not sure how far I can go with this, but as you may know, Assemblymember Weber, originally we had asked for screening from K through 3, which then would catch the students in the general ed curriculum, but that was amended out of the bill. So speaking about what is left in the bill currently, yes, if we can identify the students on the phonological processing before there is a deviation in what their reading level is and their deficits, then at that point the child is identified, immediately starts receiving services, appropriate services, which is in AB 1369, and then is exited 2 to 4 years out of the special education system.
And as you know, Dr. Weber, as we worked last year on the early intervention for the children on the autistic spectrum, getting that reinstated, the success is absolutely outstanding about mainstreaming children after that point. And so looking at this as another process of what we've promised to parents and children to provide is an education. This is an opportunity to find it early, and this is a stepping stone. This is just a dialogue starting. We want to continue forward in the years that I'm in the Assembly to make sure that these children have every need that they can be met.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier. I think we'll take that as you want to close?
Just real quick, sir.
Okay.
And thank you. I respectfully ask for your support when the suspense file is taken on behalf of the 5,500 parents statewide who have voiced their strong support for this bill, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier. The bill is on suspense. We'll definitely give it due consideration as we take up the suspense file. Thank you so much.
Thank you, members and Chair.
Mr. Medina, you're up. You have 2 bills on suspense. What's your pleasure?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will bring up AB 1370 and waive on the other.
Thank you so much. Please proceed.
AB 1370 would cap non-resident students at 10% system-wide, giving some campuses the ability to increase non-resident enrollment and revenue from that enrollment. AB 1370 would also allow for the redistribution of these funds equitably across all UC campuses. There are no costs to the UC associated with this bill. The bill will only redirect revenue to fund enrollment of approximately 16,000 California undergraduate students. AB 1370 would make sure that our California students continue to have access to public institutions of higher learning. For these reasons, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you so much. Witnesses in support?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Christy Baumer representing the California Federation of Teachers. Pleased to be in support of this measure. I think the bill is a nice balance in providing access to California students, but allowing for non-resident students' enrollment. We urge your support.
Thank you so much. Any other witnesses in support? Individuals from the public in support. Witnesses in opposition. Individuals from the public in opposition. Department of Finance.
No file, Mr. Chair.
No files. Questions or comments from the committee members? Mr. Medina, would you like to close?
Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Mr. Medina, the bill is on suspense. We thank you for coming. Please come again.
Thank you very much. Will do.
Ms. Brown, you have 2 bills on suspense, 2 on consent, 1 due pass, which is AB 1156. What's your pleasure?
I will be presenting, if it's okay, 1156 and AB 1445.
Please proceed with 1156.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. AB 1156 is a realignment cleanup bill. The costs are minor, and it could be even long-term, it could be cost savings, especially for the compassionate release candidates. I have with me a couple of witnesses who will, a witness who will speak on this.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Larry Doyle on behalf of the Conference of California Bar Associations. We're one of the sponsors of this bill. As Assemblymember Brown indicated, this is basically a cleanup bill. It takes a couple of instances where realignment provides greater benefits, or such as they are, to persons who have been sentenced to state prison than to those who, under realignment, are now serving felony convictions in county jails.
Move the bill.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. You can continue if you like, but usually...
No, that's good enough for me. Ask for your aye vote.
Thank you so much. Other witnesses in support? Individuals from the public in support? Witnesses in opposition? Individuals from the public in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file, Mr. Chair.
No file. Question or comments from the committee members? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. It's a due pass. It's out on a B roll call. Thank you so much, Ms. Brown.
Thank you.
On your suspense item?
1445.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Mr. Chair and committee members, 1445 would raise the limits of the Small Business Disabled Veteran Enterprise contract from $250,000 to $500,000. Currently, the Small Business Procurement and Contract Act permits a state agency to award a contract for goods and services or information technology with a value of between $5,000 and $250,000 to a certified small business. This is available to disabled veteran business enterprises, and it's through an informal bidding process. I have a witness who will speak on it, Mr. Brig Goodwin, from Granite Data Solutions.
Thank you. Your witness, please.
Good morning, first time. Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Brig Goodwin. I'm with the Disabled Veteran Business Alliance. I am a California certified I'm a California certified disabled veteran and small business owner. I am here locally in the Sacramento Valley, and I strongly support all the DVBE programs. I understand AB 1445 is a candidate for suspense due to the costs associated with the program. However, the DVBA believes that by removal of the competitive bidding requirements, it would also alleviate the need for contracting departments to incur administrative costs for the advertising, bidding, and protest process that's typical for a formal bid process. The DVBA believes that the savings related to AB 1445 would be equal to or even greater than the potential costs in conjunction to enhancing the small business fiscal landscape. Our largest employer, as all of you know, is the small businesses, and this is only going to build that program. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Other witnesses in support?
Yes, Yolanda Benson, representing the California Asian Pacific Chamber of Commerce, also in support of this bill. Many of our businesses are DVBE businesses as well, and this would be very helpful to us.
Thank you so much. Any other individuals from the public in support? Witnesses in opposition? Individuals from the public in opposition? Department of Finance?
No file, Mr. Chair.
No file. Thank you so much. Questions or comments from the committee members? Seeing none. Ms. Brown, would you like to close? This bill is on suspense.
Thank you. I ask for your consideration as this bill moves to the suspense file.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. We'll definitely give the bill due consideration when it's on suspense. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.